Hello and a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's Postgrad Insights webinar service brought to you today by Postgrad Solutions. We're joined today by University College London, UCL, who's going to talk to us all about their different courses, programs, opportunities available to you, post-graduation also, and everything that you need to know about the university. Now, just before I move forward, it is a live webinar. Today's date is the 14th of October, 2025. So if you have any questions at all, please pop it in the Q&A box chat facility. If you're watching on social media today, please use that message facility. We'll endeavour to come around to your questions, but we're not manning it currently. But we will reach out to you afterwards with any answers that we may have. And if you are watching on demand and have a question, webinars at postgradsolutions.com is the best place for you to send that communication to. If you have any questions, there is a live Q&A towards the very end of the session. So please feel free to say hi in the chat, ask any questions, anything that you may think at all. Just please don't go putting any personal information in the chat. I'm joined today by Nick and Vida, who are both part of the student and recruitment team. Vida, I'm going to hand over to you now, and I'll be back for the Q&A towards the end.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So welcome everyone to the session, and glad to see so many of you are interested in studying at UCL. My name is Vida Koster, and I'm a senior liaison and recruitment officer here at UCL. And my job is basically to go out and talk to prospective applicants, students about studying at UCL and the sort of opportunities that we offer to our students. And with me today is Nicholas from the admissions team. So if I just briefly hand over to him to introduce himself as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas. I am a graduate admissions officer from the School of Life Sciences and Medical Sciences, and I'm here to demonstrate you some of the key steps for the application process at UCL. Thank you, Vida.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we are going to be talking about UCL a little bit today, what makes us such a fantastic place to study, but then also, like you heard from Nick, how to apply. So we're going to begin by talking about UCL and why you might consider it for your postgraduate studies. Then we're going to move on to the application process, how to submit an application and what to include. And then we're going to finish off by talking about funding. So if we can move on to the next slide, I'm going to start a little bit by going over, a little bit about why you should choose UCL. Now, the first thing that we are really proud of as an institution is our absolutely stellar global reputation. We are a world leading institution, and that is across disciplines. So we are a multidisciplinary university, and that means that we really offer programs from across disciplines, as we'll hear a bit more about later. But we also tend to rank very highly across the disciplines. We are not a specialist institution, and we are very proud of our global standing. And it's something that we encourage applicants to consider when they're looking at where to study for their postgraduate studies. Consider the academic standing of the institution and the sort of research as well that goes on. So in terms of research, we have been, at the absolute forefront of academic research since we were founded. And anything from, you may have read recently, we cured Huntington's, which is an absolutely, fantastic achievement from our researchers at the Institute of Neurology. But we are, we do research across disciplines that makes a real life impact. And in fact, we are second in the UK by research power. We're also the most sort of cited. We have the largest number of citations in terms of academic research. So we're basically a research powerhouse, and that then has a direct pipeline into the teaching as well, because the people that are conducting the research are the ones who will then be in the lecture hall with you delivering your program. And then, of course, we also have a fantastic alumni community, hundreds of thousands of alumni all across the globe, often in absolutely fantastic careers. So in terms of the connections you can make while on the program, they're a really fantastic resource. And then another important thing to consider when you're, thinking of where you want to study for your postgrad, is the career opportunities you will have afterwards. And we are one of the most, if not the most targeted university by graduate employers, and have fantastic links with industry and different employers across the world, but also in the UK. So our students are very well prepared to take on any postgrad job. We'll come back to careers a bit later, but if we could move to the next slide, please, Nick. Okay, so a little bit about our history. So UCL is definitely a forward-thinking institution, but we are very, very proud of where we come from. So as we approach our 200th anniversary next year in 2026, we are reflecting a little bit on our long and proud history. And one thing about UCL is that we were from the start quite a radical institution. We were founded as a way to make university education accessible to people from all backgrounds. So we were the first in England to welcome students of any religion or social background. And we were also the first to welcome women to university education. So the first woman who completed a medical degree, for example, did so at UCL. And this is something that we're quite proud of. That we've basically from the start been looking at how we can widen access to higher education. And one of the ways that we sort of think about our future for both people and the planet is by tackling some of the most pressing global issues like inequality, for example, and really confronting some of those big issues through our research. So if I could move to the next slide. And so this is basically, we have a flagship program of grand challenges. So we've identified 5 research areas as key challenges facing the world. And it's something that is sort of interwoven in our teaching, but also our research. And so they're on the screen there: inequalities, mental health and well-being, climate, intercultural communication, and data-empowered society. So real sort of multidisciplinary sort of cross-section of different issues. And as a student, you'll absolutely get a chance to be involved in tackling those challenges. So there's lots of, for example, we have an innovation lab, which is a sort of multi-day event teaching students everything from how to identify a research project to how to pitch solutions and how to get funding. There's a lot of staff-led projects. We've invested upwards of £20 million into these grand challenges and the research funding for that. But also, some examples include things like improving neonatal care, assistive technology for those with injuries to limbs, but also things like circular economies in cities. So it's really quite wide-ranging and absolutely something you can get involved with. It will also be embedded in the curriculum, so you'll have optional modules on your whatever program. Because we are multidisciplinary as an institution, you really meet people from multiple disciplines, and so you can tackle those challenges collaboratively. So if we can move to the next bit. Nicholas, if we can move to the next. Thank you. So in terms of what you can study at UCL, it's pretty much anything. We don't have a veterinary degree, but apart from that, it's pretty much anything. So this is a list of the different subject areas. We have, in terms of postgraduate study, over 1,000 programs. So if you can think of something you want to study, it's very likely that you'll find it at UCL. We are, for context, we are the largest university in the UK. So that means that we really offer pretty much anything. So from arts and humanities to engineering and law to population health. If you are interested in it, you can definitely find your place in your program at UCL. So this is just a sort of list, but the detailed list of our programs can be found on our postgraduate prospectus. And it's there's definitely a lot to choose from. So I would encourage you to look into that fully before you apply. Okay, so then the next bit, and the next slide will be our our approach to being a multidisciplinary institution and also attracting really the best and the brightest regardless of background has been quite successful for us as an institution, and that is really reflected in part in the amount of Nobel Prizes that we have won, either that's been won either by UCL staff or alumni. And we've pretty much had one Nobel Prize per decade since the award began. So in the recent round in 2024, we had two of our former staff members um, win Nobel Prizes. For example, Jeffrey Hinton, who pioneered machine learning techniques that power modern AI. We also have Demis Hassabis, who also worked in AI and created a tool that can predict protein structure. So that is, that is one example, but I think it's really reflective of the fact that UCL is really at the heart of researching really across disciplines, but any sort of upcoming large challenges for the world, UCL will be at the forefront of research. And this is one good way of demonstrating that. And in terms of how that then bleeds into teaching as well, if we move on to the next slide, what we'll see is that if we could, oh, I think there should be one on facilities. That's fine. But um, in terms of how research sort of bleeds into your studies, is we do have, and as a student, you will have access to absolute cutting edge facilities. So everything from the student center, which has fantastic study spaces, to different engineering spaces and things like that. And the people doing the groundbreaking research and winning Nobel Prizes will likely have those facilities at UCL as well. And as a student, you can participate in that. But we're not just focused on research, we are also focused on our own impact in terms of our sustainability. We're very, very proud to be a sustainable university and have been championing sustainability for years, if not decades. So we are currently the most sustainable university in the UK, which isn't just a sort of statistic. It really means a lot to us. As an example, we send zero waste to landfill. We are 100% powered by renewable energy, and we do hope to be a net zero carbon institution by 2030. And that is embedded not just in the sort of food you can buy in the food court, but it's also in how our buildings are structured. Behind, if you can see my background, that's UCL East. And the buildings were built, fully sustainably. We repurposed and recycled waste to create some of the pathways. As an example, the way we cool our buildings is sustainable and based on renewable energy. So it's really sort of baked into how we're built, and we've also, as much as possible, refurbished our older buildings because we are an old university, but we have done a lot to make those sustainable as well, as much as architecturally permitted. So if we go on to the next slide. Ah, there are the facilities. Okay. So these are some of the facilities that I was mentioning earlier. So really across disciplines, you will have top-notch, access to top-notch facilities. So top right-hand corner is an exhibition space for the Slade. But, for example, Slade has facilities, that's our fine art school. So whether you want to do waxworking, woodworking, photography, film editing, they have a studio for all of it and you get all the materials. Or perhaps you're interested in robotics and AI. So you'll have, cutting edge labs for that as well. The bottom row middle building is our student center, which is currently, as of recently, the most sustainable building in London, but it's also home of all of our student support services, lots of study spaces, individual bookable spaces that you can book for group work and things like that. If you walk past the student center, you'll see our Institute of Nanotechnology, and you can actually look through their windows and see some of the really cool machinery they have there. But it is really first class and really makes for a more in terms of practically applying the knowledge that you're learning in your program, it really enriches your studies because you have access to the absolute best of the best, really, in terms of our facilities. Okay, so in terms of the next bit, so as you're applying for for careers, or as you're applying for postgraduate study, what you really will be thinking about most likely is where you want to go next in terms of your career. And as a UCL graduate, you'll certainly be highly desirable to our employers. We're currently ranked 8th in the world for graduate employability and are one of the most targeted universities. And the reason for this is because we invest a lot in career support services. So our students can get support, whether it's one-to-one support with CVs, whether it's, the links with about 4,000 employers that we have currently globally in our network, whether it's career fairs. There's a lot of support at UCL for students going into pretty much, into every industry. And we have organized something like nearly 10,000 events, careers wise. So we do invest a lot in that support throughout your degree to make sure that, if you want to apply for an internship, if you want to apply for a grad role or go into research, you have access to the people who can help you make that happen. But if we move on to the next bit, please, thank you. Perhaps you don't really want to go into a 9 to 5. Maybe you want to set up your own business. So we are also really proud about the support that we offer for entrepreneurs as well. So we have a dedicated entrepreneurship hub, the Hatchery Incubator in King's Cross. And that's basically if you have a really fantastic idea for a startup, for your own business, we can absolutely support you in that. So we do everything from teaching you sort of the basics of tax law and intellectual property to then doing marketing for your business. You can network with organizations that provide funding for your for startups. And we really sort of train up the next generation of entrepreneurs. There's funding competitions as well to get seed funding for your idea. And you get a lot of bespoke one-to-one support as well. So one example is YourQ, which is these two students, master students, who met on a program and decided to team up, and they basically designed this wearable solution to monitor patients, and both in home and clinical settings to monitor their well-being. But then on the other end of the spectrum, we also have a few graduates who started a condiment business. So they make really good ketchup and really good avocado mayo. So if that's more your thing, you get support for that as well. So regardless of the idea, if you have it, we can support you in making it a reality. Okay, perfect. So if we move on to the next slide, just to sort of show you, maybe you haven't been to UCL before and are not quite sure where we're located. So this is our Bloomsbury campus. This is where we were first established. So in 1826, we set up in this building in pink there, UCL Bloomsbury campus. And just to give you an idea, we are in the very heart of London. We're so close to all the transport links like King's Cross St. Pancras Station, Euston Station. Of course, there's different tube stations around as well, so it's very, very easy to get to, and it's at the very heart of London. So the British Museum, the British Library as well is a few minutes walk away from us. And this, in terms of being a student at UCL, all of the best of the resources that London has to offer are really on your doorstep. And for example, the University College Hospital here, it is a hospital, it's a public hospital, so it gets patients, but it's also where a lot of our medical students train and where a lot of our staff still work. For example, you might get an oncologist who's on call at the University College Hospital, then come in, deliver a lecture on cancer biomedicine. And that's, a few minutes away from your lecture theater. So everything is really well connected and really close by and sort of first class. And then we also have, on the next slide, we have another campus. So we just established UCL East a couple of years ago, which is also fairly close. It's about 40 minutes or even less by some trains from our main campus in Bloomsbury. And this really is a sort of up-and-coming innovation hub. the government has invested a lot of resources in the area. So, for example, there's the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, there's the London Stadium, a lot of really sort of big organizations are also moving into the area, such as the BBC. The Victoria and Albert Museum has a presence there as well as the University of Arts London. So it is where a lot of our postgraduate courses are housed in terms of our courses on Global Business School for Health, as an example. So lots of our innovative courses and new courses are housed in that area and at that campus. But it's again very, very close to the center of London. And then finally, on the next slide, we'll see our third campus. So UCL has, oh, sorry, if we just go back, sorry, I'll just. Yeah. So UCL, do you see here in the background where it says Canary Wharf? So we have a third part of our campus is Canary Wharf, which is where our UCL School of Management is housed. And that really is sort of the heart of the financial district. Lots of, if you can think of a bank, they probably have a presence in Canary Wharf. And we're currently occupying the top 3 floors of the tallest building in Canary Wharf with our School of Management. So, but regardless of where you are and which campus you're on, you will have easy access to Central London and, of course, easy access to our accommodation as well. So if we go on to the next slide, please, which is accommodation. So, of course, we have to consider where we're going to be living while we're studying. So our accommodation, for next year, we anticipate that we can guarantee accommodation, including to those who have accepted an offer to a full-time master's program or, MPhil PhD as well. But we do have a range of accommodation options across London, and most of them are in the very center. And so they really range from everything from self-catered halls to maybe you can have an ensuite, or maybe you share the facilities and you have more housemates. It really varies quite a lot, and there's something for every need and every taste. We also do work because we're part of the University of London, which is a federation of universities. They have their own housing service, and we do work with private providers as well, who we have vetted for quality. You can get priority accommodation, or you can get more favorable prices for accommodation as well in some cases. So we do have a lot of support with our accommodation services. And so if some of you might, be moving to London to come study with us, so you can rest assured that there will be there will be support in terms of finding accommodation, and that we, can also offer you UCL accommodation as well. So with that, I will hand over to Nick to just go over the application process, and then I will be back to discuss funding.
Thank you, Vida. So now you've got a better sense of what UCL is all about, our community, the history, our values that makes studying here so special. I would like to move on to the next part of our presentation. First of all, I'm going to introduce you about the Graduate Admissions Office and walk you through how to make how to submit an application to study with us. And Vida will come back to our presentation to tell you more about the funding of your study at UCL. So Graduate Admissions Office, we are the central team that manages all applications for our postgraduate taught programs and research programs. In another word, whether you're applying a master taught degree or a research degree, this is the office that handles your application from start to finish. We're responsible for a variety of the processes, from assessing your application, your fee status, to issuing your cards for international students who require a student visa to study in the UK, and managing your tuition fee deposit, and much more behind the scene that to make sure everything runs smoothly. Last year, we received about, I think, over 90,000 postgraduate application. We understand that the prospective applicants like you or applicants might have some questions before the application or after making an application. We have the dedicated Admissions Inquiry Center. If you ever need help or have questions about your application or before making an application, you're welcome to reach out to our Admissions Inquiry Center. Please feel free to contact us via the contact form as you show on the website, and also the number that we advertise on this slide. If you have any question, please feel free to reach out to us. So essentially, we are the main contact of the contact for anything related to your postgraduate admissions. Now, I'm moving on to how to submit your application. I'm going to walk you through how to do it. So first of all, application for the next academic year will be open next Monday, the 20th of October. There's a lot of information on our prospectus page. It is very important for you to read all of this information on our prospectus page carefully before you make an application. You might have to make a note, and not all the programs have the same application deadline. And some of the department may have their own closing date. So make sure that you get this information from our website. And also we have different deadlines for those applicants who are required a student visa to study in the UK. The reason why we are having different deadlines for these applicants, because we wanted to make sure that we offer sufficient time for them to clear the condition and apply for the student visa before the enrollment. So if they receive an offer with us, of course. So make sure that you check the specific program's website carefully. The decision go out on a rolling basis. It means that the earlier that you apply, the earlier that you're likely to hear back from us. However, we are not asking you to rush making your application straight away. We understand that it takes time to polish and to make a good application. So make sure that you take your own time and apply as soon as you can. Some of the decisions are handled centrally by the Postgraduate Admissions office. However, some of the application could be assessed by the academic department as well. So if you make an application with us, sometimes you will see the status of your application indicating that it's been assessed by the department. It's completely normal. So when you're making an application, you are required to make the application through the online application form. We only consider the complete application. So make sure that you make the payment of the application fee if there's any applied to the program that you're applying to. Also, your referees must upload their references by the secure website before the application deadline. It is your own responsibility to make sure that your referees submitted their own references before the application deadline. We won't consider your application until your references were uploaded. As for the references, as you can see on our slide, most of the postgraduate top programs require one references. However, some of the top programs, they do require two references, and also the MRes programs and the PhD programs. So like I said, make sure that you found this information on our website. And we prefer academic reference. It means that someone from your current study or from your previous study or have taught you in a degree level. But we understand that we have applicants from diversity backgrounds. So if you are out of the higher education for 4 years or more, you are welcome to submit a professional reference instead from your employer or supervisor. So my advice is, if you can apply early, check the specific requirements on our website and make sure that your references and documents are uploaded on time. That will make sure your application runs smoothly and give you the best of chance of timely decision. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So you might wonder what we actually need for the application. We would require degree documents that you have completed at least one degree level qualification. it means that you can submit your official academic transcript or certificate that lists the completed modules and the results that you have already achieved. If your degree is still in progress, I understand that some of the applicants are still in year 2 of their undergraduate degree. You are welcome to request the interim transcript from the student registry of your current institution, and you're welcome to submit that to when you make the application with us. We also do have students from other parts of the world, and their transcript or document might not be written in English. So we would need your academic documents in your own language or original language. Supply with the English language translation from your own institution and the official translating company when you're making an application. Next point would be CV. Some people might ask me and may ask UCL or the representative from the department, would they need a CV to support the application? This is completely optional, but if it is very useful, especially if you have any relevant work experience or volunteer experience that support your academic goals. We would recommend you. I understand that some of the applicants are very experienced in their own field, but we would recommend you to keep your CV length to about 2 to 3 pages maximum. Please focus on your roles, your projects, your skills that connect to the program that you're applying to. That will be very helpful to your application. Some of the programs, they might require additional documents, as you can see on a slide. For example, dissertation summary. If you apply for the research programs, they might require a dissertation summary from your previous study or the potential programs that you're applying to. And also the PhD program might also request the dissertation summary to support your application as well. On top of the additional document, they might require portfolio from the art programs. So, but all of these additional documentation, they will be mentioned in the prospectus. They would not come as a surprise. So, like I said, you are welcome to go through all of the information from our prospectus in order to get to know more about what if the programs that you're applying to require additional document to support your application. Some people might ask on this seminar, they might ask, what about English language? Yes, if your English language is not your first language and you need to supply the evidence, demonstrate your English language skills. However, you don't need to submit this now before you apply for this program. If you don't meet any English language requirement, any offer, if you receive an offer, will be your English language will be conditional in your application. Let's talk about one of the most important components would be personal statement. I believe that some people might have a lot of questions about personal statement. It is one of the most important components in your application. We take a holistic approach to reviewing your applications by reading your personal statement. I would say this is your opportunity to explain who you are, why you are applying, and what makes you a strong candidate for the program. The personal statement should be about 2 pages long. You might consider cover all of these questions that we have on this slide. For example, why this particular program that you're applying to? Is there any specific interest that make you motivated to apply this program? Any particular modules that appeal to you as well? How does the academic or professional background meet the demand of the program that you are interested in applying? How does the program meet the professional ambition that you might currently have? So, and also one of the other important questions would be, think about why you choose UCL. I believe that Vida has already demonstrated a lot of information about the advantages of studying at UCL. There's lots of different community, there's lots of research goals, and I believe that there's some particular reason why you have chosen UCL. So you might also consider adding this information in your personal statement, what UCL can bring you, academic achievement or career or any specific academic interest and experience you have that motivated you to apply to us. And finally, if you have any relevant work or volunteer experience that demonstrate your skills and commitment, it is also a good idea to include your career aspiration in your personal statement, where you think that will take you to the next level, for example, to further research or professional field or specific area of your expertise. We have also attached the website at the bottom for your reference. When you're making an application to us, you might consider what we need to consider when you're making an application. I would split that into two parts. The first part will be relevant to all of the students, and the second part will be applying to the international students only. So all of the applicants, if you begin to make your application, I think it's like I said, it's a really good idea to spend some time to explore the prospectus page of the chosen program. From next Monday when we open, you will get to see the most up-to-date information about the course structure, the list of the compulsory and the optional modules, the fees, tuition fees, of course, you might have to pay attention to, the entry requirements, the number of referees, and also some of the key deadlines that you might also come across. We also have the contact information if you wish to seek further information from the academic department. I would also recommend you to go to the department website. You can find the details about the latest research projects. Vida has also demonstrated some of the cutting-edge research from the previous slide. You're welcome to get to know more about from the academic website, from the department website as well. You can also take a look on the academic staff. If you would like to apply for the PhD program, I'm sure that you would like to approach some of the professors, some of the specialists for the department to discuss your mutual objective in your research projects. And also the department as well. They might also advertise the news, for example, events or activities. I remember some of the department also organize some of the events, even though that you're not a student yet, or if you you are not an applicant yet, you're welcome to join those events that is available to you if that is something that you're interested in participating. And these participation will allow you or help you to tailor your personal statement that we have just covered earlier and show your genuine interest in the subject area. We also have the FAQ pages for the applicants or offer holders, depend what stages that you are at. We do try to cover all of the common questions, and however, I don't think we will be able to cover everything. You might have some new questions, just like the new question that you put in the chat room. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to take a look on the FAQ web pages. If you have anything that you think those FAQ pages does not cover what you wanted, please feel free to come back to us via the contact form and the contact number that we shared earlier. Some of the programs, as I have just mentioned, they might require additional requirements as well. So, for example, like interviews and portfolios from the art programs or writing samples from the law program as well, they do require 750 word writing sample to support your application. So please make sure that you know that in advance, if the course has any additional requirements, that you can prepare and submit everything on time. So once you submitted your application, it takes about 8 weeks for us to return a decision, which can be reflected on the applicant portal. But the timeline is really depending on the volume of the application, whether the academic department might require extra time on the additional requirements from you as well. You might also be asked to go through qualification check. This is a standard procedure that helps verify all of the academic documents that you previously provided and ensure that your previous study have met our entry requirements. That's it for the all students. And I have just mentioned that the second part will be the international students. There are a few extra things for you to consider, depending on your nationality or the program that you're applying to. You might need ATAS certificate as well as the student visa. So it is very important to check these requirements as early as possible when you're making the application with us, because this process can take time to complete. And we have also attached the hyperlink. So after the today's event, please feel free to go to this website to gather more information. You might ask if you need an English language test. You can find out whether you will need this acceptable English language test that we advertise on our website. And I have also attached on the hyperlink as well. That depends on your previous education and your nationality. Always refer to the guidance that we advertise on our website about the English language requirement. So basically, just to make sure that you know what you require for the specific programs, and give yourself plenty of time to apply and meet any conditions or additional requirements that the programs apply and advertise on our website. I'm going to the next stage, would be a timeline to cover after you submit an application with us. So give you a vision how it looks like on a table that we created for you. So once you make an application with us, it will send to the graduate admissions office, and you will receive a confirmation email from us. That is the allowing you to monitor the status of your application. The next stage would be us. So we are going to access and to have the assessment on your application. So we will check all of the documents that you provided, make sure that it is a complete application. Does it meet the entry requirements? If there's anything missing, once again, we would not be able to start your assessment until your application is complete. That means you have submitted the referee. You are ensured that the referee submitted all of the references, and also you pay the application fee. In some cases, your application might require additional requirements. Like I said earlier, they might do the interview, they might request your portfolio from the art programs or the written sample from the law programs. These are assessed directly by the academic department, so they will be able to evaluate your suitability for the program. Once both graduate admissions office and the academic department review your application, we will make the decision. That will become the fourth stage, and a condition, an unconditional offer or conditional offer or unsuccessful outcome will be made. All decision will be communicated through the applicant portal, which I'm going to introduce to you in a second. And it is important for you to check regularly for the updates. If you receive an offer, the next step is to respond to your offer and pay the tuition fee deposit if you choose to accept it before the specific deadline that's stated in your offer letter. And the deposit amount or the payment instruction will be stated in your offer letter as well. If you choose to accept your offer and you pay the tuition fee deposit, the final stage would be the post-offer and enrollment. It means that you are required to meet any outstanding condition in your conditional offer, including your academic achievement, your English language requirements, and also after you have turned that into unconditional offer, you might have to upload further documents such as your visa documents or ATAS in order to enroll onto the program. Now, I'm going to show you the applicant portal before going back to Vida on telling you more about the funding. So this is the applicant portal we have just mentioned. Once you have made an application to us, you will have the access to the applicant portal called Portico. It will become your main point of contact with the university through the admissions process. Inside the portal, as you can see the screenshot that we put on the screen, you will be able to track the status of your application, which stage is at, and check any further documents or information are still outstanding. You can update the referees. Remember, we have just mentioned that you are responsible to make sure that all of the referees submitted the references. So if they have not submitted the references, you can resend the invitation to us directly to request for one. Like I said, this is all of the communication from graduate admissions team or office. If we make any requests for additional documents or update or decision, it will be reflected from the communication tab on the applicant portal. And if there's any new message, you will also receive an email regarding to this. If you are having an offer with us, you will be able to see this offer to be reflected on your applicant portal as well. And the offer letter can be downloaded from the portal. Okay. So, and you will be able to see any post-offer requirements. Once you have accepted your offer, you can use it to make sure that you have met all of the conditions before you enroll. That's everything from me. And
Perfect. Thank you.
to Vida to talk about the funding on study at UCL.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nick. Hopefully that gives everyone a better idea. If we can move on to the funding slide. Thank you so much. Okay, so we do need to think about funding. Of course, that's a very important consideration. And in terms of funding, one of the key things is to think about the fee. So the tuition fee will vary depending on whether you're a home student or an overseas student, and will in all circumstances be outlined on the prospectus page for the program. So you know, it's not going to come as a surprise, but roughly we say that for home students, it's between 13 to about 20-ish thousand pounds per year. And then with overseas students, it can be around 30 to up to 65,000 pounds per year. It does vary very significantly by program, so please do consult the prospectus page for the program beforehand. And we do encourage applicants to look into funding early on, because most of our students do most of our postgraduate students, I should say, do pursue what we call jigsaw funding, which means that you're combining different sources to meet the overall cost of the program. So these are things like scholarships, which I'll go over in a second, but also you might work part-time, you might get additional funding from your family or your savings, or you might be combining different scholarships and different bursaries. So all of those will have different deadlines. For UCL scholarships, you know, for many of them, we can't consider you until you have an offer. So that is another reason why we're encouraging early applications as well, because the earlier you start this process, the more time you can give yourself to actually go through all of the steps. One important thing, of course, is to you know, consider living costs as well when you're thinking of funding. We estimate them to be about 20,000 pounds per year for students. Some have, you know, a different budget. Maybe they need less than that. Some may need more. It just depends on your needs, but that is definitely something to factor in, unless you also, of course, plan to work part-time. Those of you who are home students, you might get a UK government loan. So we have amazing guidance on our website. This is a loan that comes directly to you, so it's a little different than undergraduate loans, but that is definitely, you know, for a lot of our home students, a key part of their funding. But for those of you who are international students, we do work in partnership with a number of funding bodies abroad. So Chevening, Colfatura in Colombia, Fulbright in America, we can accept that funding, and we work with them to get you know, scholarship students to UCL, but we also, of course, accept Canadian loans, US loans, federal loans like FAFSA. So there is a number of options for funding your studies, but you will need to look into that pretty early on. And we have an excellent scholarship finder as well on our webpage where you can take a look at that. But in terms of, if we move on to the next slide, I'll go into a bit more detail on the exact scholarships that we have as well coming up. So in terms of applying for funding that UCL gives you, so all applications for funding happen through the Portico applicant portal, which we just saw a screenshot of, and most of our funding is means tested. So it's not merit-based, it's mostly means tested, which means that eligibility will, to assess your eligibility, you'll need to include things like your household circumstances, maybe proof of income and things like that. And evidence of financial circumstances if you're shortlisted for an award. But that is most of our scholarships will be means tested, like I said, and the eligibility can also be impacted by whether you're a home student or an international student. So more detail on that if we go to the next bit, please. So we do have two key flagship schemes to look into that you'll come across. Our scholarship finder can tell you about a little bit more, but for our UK students, so anyone who's a home fee payer, we have the Master's Funding Awards, which is a bursary. So this is not a loan. This is just funding that you get, and it's up to £10,000 each based on financial, or it's exactly £10,000 each based on financial need, and we have about 200 of those available. And then for international students, we have the International Masters Awards, which are the Global Master Scholarships. We have 85 available, and it's about £15,000 each. Now, it's very important for us to say, as much as we would love to, it's just not possible for us to fund every student that has the ability to study at UCL and that has the financial need. So definitely look into, and what you'll also notice is that it's unlikely that the scholarship that you're going to cover all of your expenses with just one scholarship. And that's not just UCL scholarships, it's scholarships across the board. So please do look into, you know, multiple avenues of funding because applications may have already opened or they may open later. So please kind of go through that process concurrently with applying to UCL as well, because unfortunately it does take time. And so the sooner you start, the better position you're going to be in coming up. And the sooner you have an idea of what you're eligible for, the better, because there might be some paperwork that you need and things like that. But in terms of our funding that you apply for through Portico, it's very easy. We make it very simple for you. So you submit one application and then you're considered under all the scholarships under that umbrella. By that I mean, if you're an international student or a home student, that might be an umbrella. So it's a very straightforward process for you to apply. And then, of course, you might be shortlisted. There may be additional requirements for each scholarship to provide additional documents, and we would, of course, communicate that to you. But hopefully this gives you a good insight into how to apply and what sort of funding is available. But do utilize our scholarship finder as well, because there's quite a lot of resources on there as well that and you can check your eligibility for the different funding streams. So if we move on to the next, I think that should just be the closing slide, where we will just again reiterate that for any general inquiries, you're welcome to contact admissions, and they have an inquiry form where you can contact them for any sort of general inquiries, and hopefully we do get to welcome you to UCL.
Vida, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And to Nick also. It feels like such a long time and to get so much in, but we've crammed it all in, which is fantastic. There have been a few questions that have come in before the webinar session and today during the session as well. A few questions kind of reiterate what we've kind of covered. And Nick, I know you went into various different bits and pieces of the application process, but we're going to touch upon it again in a moment. But the first question I would have is post-graduation. One of the biggest aspects of any student's decision making in terms of where they want to study, not necessarily always what they want to study, is where they're going to live, where they're going to be employed next, the next steps of their career. What is the career service like at UCL, and what is it like from a hand-holding perspective to ensure that the many students that enroll every year have a great opportunity post-graduation to go on and further their career? Vida, if I can start with you and then I'll move on to Nick if it's appropriate.
Yeah, so in terms of careers, I mean, there is definitely a lot of support at UCL. So we do expect, for postgraduate study, most of our students will have an idea of the career they want to go into. when they're applying. So that is why that's also going to be part of the personal statement. We expect you to at least have considered the industry you want to go into. But whilst you're at UCL, we do expect that to sort of sharpen as well. You don't need to have a kind of detailed 10-year plan for your career because that's quite unrealistic. But wherever your interests lie, or whether you want to just try something new, there will be support for you at UCL to discover that. So lots of events that our careers team organizes with employers from different industries that come into campus. And we advertise a lot of internship opportunities and work experience opportunities, so you can really hone your career interest. But yes, I do imagine that most of our students already kind of have an idea of where they go. But the good thing about UCL is that you have access to a absolutely phenomenal network of both staff and alumni and employers to really kind of start having those conversations pretty early on as part of your degree, and kind of get a bit more insight into how you might progress.
Okay, Nick, do you want to kind of elaborate further on that? Because I think it's such an important point, isn't it?
Yes. So basically, like Peter said, we do have career exhibitions in October and November, which is welcome to all of the UCL students to join. The career exhibition is not just for general, but also they do have categorized into different industry. For example, for finance, for law, or for engineering, we do have specific exhibitor from all different companies to join these career exhibitions. So they are ready. They are all on the website. You can also look for this information. They are all advertised for all of these students to join. And also we have the career department where if you would like to polish your CV or any guidance for how to make an application to those employers, you can also seek some professional guidance from this department. We are very supportive in terms of building up the career for the current students.
Excellent. I'll just keeping an eye on time as well for anyone watching. I'll give it 5 more minutes, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Key topic that's not often spoken about a lot. You have mentioned it already in your presentation, is accommodation. Many students will be thinking UCL, Central London, absolute arm and a leg to live there, stupidly expensive. There will be so many people, and I know people that study in London, now live in London. They actually live on the outskirts of London and travel in. I'd imagine that's a lot the same for a lot of your students, isn't it, Vida?
Well, it really does depend. So our accommodation does tend to be centrally located. Please do keep in mind, though, that bills are covered. So when you're looking at our accommodation prices, that's kind of all inclusive. So you're going to get those bills covered as well. There's no additional charges. But yes, I mean, student accommodation is available throughout the city and on the outskirts as well. London is a student city, so there's dozens of universities in London, and so lots of students. And so some of the private providers that we work with and that we have vetted for quality of their accommodation, they can have accommodation all over London. Okay, so you're not narrowed down to one specific area of London, one specific neighborhood. If you want to be in UCL specific accommodation, you're likely going to be in central London. And that's just, for convenience of our students. But it is perfectly possible to live a bit further away and then commute in. You will be expected to be on campus for lectures, so probably a few times a week. But outside of that, you can study at home as well. So definitely lots of options.
Absolutely. And Nick, I'm going to finish with yourself now. One of the key topics I feel is the importance of that personal statement when they apply, making sure that the information is correct and true to them. I think the emergence of AI and artificial intelligence, whether that be ChatGPT, Gemini, or one of the other platforms that they might use, might allow a student to become a little bit lazy in their application. How important is it that they remain true to themselves? Use it to help them, of course, because we all need it. We all use it, but not to rely on it too much.
We do we are quite aware of the AI tools. Definitely, we do encourage students or applicants to reflect your own academic performance, your experience, or your past achievement in the employer or in the academic field. Don't forget you might also provide your CV, and the referee is also supporting what you have already stated in your application. We do encourage you to reflect the most from your application, from your academic performance and your work experience. And the personal statement is the way for you to get to know who you are, what you previously achieved, that we think you are the most suitable person or candidate to be admitted for this program. We understand that AI tools are everywhere. So we do have a system to check the AI operated essay, but we do trust the individuals for whoever make the application to us. They are reflecting the genuine experience to us. So we love and we enjoy reading every single personal statement. So everyone is different. So I do encourage them to reflect the most suitable, relevant information to be reflected in the personal statement when they make the application to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I think it's important to end on actually the fact that it's there to help you and to guide you, not to overtake your application and to become who you are. It is very transparent. So I'd advise any students that if you're not sure and you are worried and you are thinking maybe my English won't come across very well, or there's questions that I'm just not sure about on the answers, please reach out to the team. I'm sure Nick and Vida will be more than happy to communicate directly with you, or the rest of the recruitment team certainly also. Vida, Nick, thanks for your time. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And to everyone that's watching, thank you for tuning in. It's been a very formal session, informative, everything that you need to know on there. If you have any questions, webinars at postgradsolutions.com. We've also got the QR code on the screen now, or you can visit the General Inquiries website, which is currently on your screen right now. But for now, thank you very much. Everyone at UCL will have your details in the marketing team, so we will reach out to you. If you have any questions, please let them know. Thank you. Have a good evening. Take care.